What's up, YouTube? It is your girl, Latrina, and I am back again today with another tarot spread read. And it looks like starting off, we come out with the King of Swords and the Five of Cups. The King of Swords and the Five of Cups, as well as the Three of Pentacles with the Sun in the reverse. Which tells me that you may be in a situation regarding up to one or more people that did work on something together in secret, and some of the work that they did was done in the dark and it was in secret, and there was no clarity. That was you were pretty much not aware of anything that was going on with this teamwork that was being worked upon against you. And with this teamwork card coming out as show me your ID, that lets me know this may have had something to do with your identity that was worked upon, from up to more than one person. Could have been 2 to 3 people that worked upon this situation dealing with your identity. It has some aspects of someone maybe feeling remorseful or having a change of actions, regarding the situation with this Five of Cups coming out. Maybe someone wants to bring in some truth, or maybe there's, a need for you to not allow your heart to override your head. Your head should be making the decisions for you in this matter. Don't allow your emotions to conflict with what your head is telling you about the situation. When it comes to anyone that may try to make an amends, or may try to turn, away from some of those actions that they were regretful of, that they worked upon, with this team. And I don't want to say it's really a team. I just want to make sure that it was more than one person. It could have been up to 1 to 2 or 3 people. There's been a change. There has not been a change to this situation regarding this team effort. There has been no triumph, which means there's been a defeat regarding this this matter that has not changed. There's been no change. There's just been a defeat to this lack of clarity regarding your identity, or maybe someone else's identity, someone that, had to prove their identity for whatever reason. Someone is in remorse about those actions. And they also, maybe the journey that was taken, it was, worked upon with a lot of patience. Patience and planning was, 2 of the requirements, to complete this type of mission. Because we're moving on, we do come out with the King of Swords, which is showing, that this is the Knight. This is the Knight of Swords, which, speaks of that fast, irrational movement. Someone that just jumped out of a situation, just did it, this whatever action that they did take against your identity has caused them to be in the Five of Cups in the current energy. Something that they were relentlessly working on with this team. And it did involve, whatever identity issue or matter that was involved. It didn't have any truth standing in it. It had no truth that was brought to the situation. And that does, get confirmed by the Sun card in the reverse, because that's no clarity and no truth. And then we get the Truth card in the reverse. So there's just been a bunch of lies. There's been no change to that either, about these lies that were worked upon. No truth. And no triumph either. It's been a defeat to this situation that had something to do with your identity. There's been a defeat, which has left someone in regret regarding this past action that was taken in the past. With that Knight of Swords. That Knight of Swords he just charges. He doesn't even think twice about these actions. And these actions, they probably were adverse actions, like lies that were told, and then that truth in the reverse confirms that this knight was really responsible for some of the lies and things and the untruths that were spoken about you. And it has caused some level of remorse and regret. And it even involves an attorney. And, maybe there's multiple, whomever worked as this teamwork, this team effort with the Three of Pentacles coming out here. It does involve an attorney and some level of regret. And it may be the attorney that's in regret, because of this King of Swords coming out, because he does deal with all matters of the law. So, it's possible that it may be an attorney that is actually feeling some sort of, consequence. He may be facing consequences for his actions, because that Knight of Swords, he speaks heavy upon an action taken. And it was an irrational, and it was illogical, and it was not thought through. It was just done so fast. And that Knight of Swords brings in the Chariot in the reverse, which tells me that whatever actions, were done, whatever lies, and, whatever this legal matter is regarding your identity, is actually been brought to a complete stop, a complete halt. Whenever I see this Chariot in the reverse, that really stops the progress that this Chariot could have made in the upright. It just stops all movement for this Chariot here. Maybe in this movement that was stopped was probably regarding an Ace of Pentacles, which is a pretty good significant amount of money and resources that Ace of Pentacles brings with it. And it's also regarding a courtship as well. And wisdom. It's also, a key factor in this situation. Maybe this Chariot was stopped and halted, due to some wisdom that was attained, after this fast action was taken. Because usually that fast action doesn't come with a lot of thought and consideration, and it doesn't come with a lot of clarity either with this sun in the reverse. So it looks like this attorney or either this knight of sword, may have did some things that were not thought through, and they were not, very logical at all. Dealing with this courtship. And then it did have some substance abuse as well involved in the situation. There was some level of substance abuse. We get the spice card, crushed substances at that. There's not just, they're not prescribed by a doctor. And if they are, they're being crushed. Crushed substances comes into play with this situation. And I know that in my community, that's what the young people and even the young adults, maybe even some older adults, are using, crushed substances, for their drug of choice. And it did not, these lies with this attorney involved, and this attorney does come out in the reverse. He always comes out in the reverse. This Knight of Sword and this fast action with this attorney. Maybe someone took fast action with an attorney. They felt like they could not, give up. The show must go on. They did not want to contest in this situation. They did not want to stop doing whatever it was they had planned with this teamwork. This team did not want to stop. They did not want to change anything, regarding this lie or this untruth. No one wanted to change that situation by telling the truth, because you see, they worked upon this. And so they didn't want to, they said the show must go on. They did not want to reverse any of the actions that chariot would have caused them to reverse, because the chariot, once it's in the reverse, that should be reversing a lot of different things. But they didn't want to change something that they worked upon with this fast action. Is not willing to change that. Instead, it left them feeling, rejected, and that they had to put some things to rest. Because see, this was actually a warfare that was going on, and it was used. Emotional tools were used against you as a form of warfare. These emotional tools, which could be solitude, was one of these crafted emotional tools. And then, they wanted to keep you, in your emotions.